Hello! Well, it's been a fairly unsettled story across the eastern side of the North Island, and you can see why. This big area of low pressure up towards the north is giving this onshore feed of air on towards parts of Hawke's Bay, up in towards Tairafti, and that's generating a fair amount of rain up across particularly the hills of Wairoa. And you can see as we go through the rest of Wednesday, there's no great change to how the pressure is set up. The low pressure stays quite slow moving to the north, a brief bridge of pressure between this system and the one over the Tasman Sea, but it's a continuation of that wet weather in towards Hawke's Bay and Tairafti. Not much on the other side of the hills out through the western side of the North Island, and down south things are still relatively dry as we go through the daytime today. Into Thursday though, you can see the low pressure is sinking slowly southwards. Now, the windiest area of that staying offshore, but it will be enough to keep that feed of wet weather in towards Hawke's Bay, Wairarapa, and as we head through the daytime, we'll find these fronts driving southwards as well, through parts of Canterbury, and even by the end of the day, Otago. Down the far south, staying dry for Southland, and around these western parts of the South Island, a dry day there. One thing to watch out for the North Island will be some thunderstorms around the likes of Hawke's Bay up in towards Tairafti, and perhaps even a few springing up across that western part of the Bay of Plenty as well. Out towards the areas like Waihi Beach, we could well find some fairly heavy, perhaps thundery showers as we go through the afternoon tomorrow. We've still got some unstable air just about with us. Into Friday, we've got this low pressure out towards the east and one towards the west as well. And as we head into Friday, those two systems continue to stay close by, wrapping around each other, pushing that rain further in towards the south. And as we go in towards the afternoon, across the central parts of the North Island, we'll find some showers springing up again. Some of those could be fairly heavy, perhaps with some rumbles of thunder there. Now, a lot of these will be driven by daytime heating. So as we head in towards the afternoon, they'll start to head into the evening, they'll start to ease off, but we'll keep hold of more cloud down south and some more showers through there. And you can see we've still got these circulations still with us as we go through towards the end of the day on Friday. And for the weekend, well, it's really a case of watching those run towards us. Saturday, more showers and some fairly heavy, perhaps thundery ones springing up across the North Island. Pretty much anywhere as we go through the daytime, particularly from north of about, say, Wellington or north of Palmerston North, catching those showers. Some fairly heavy, perhaps even thundery ones, something to bear in mind planning your journeys on Saturday ahead of that Christmas week. This area of low pressure to the south starts to pull away, but I think we'll still keep some showers and some wetter weather down through Otago and Southland. And as we're heading towards Sunday, things start to pull away completely. We'll be left with a bit more of that southwesterly feed of air. Still some showers to watch out for, especially for those foothills of Canterbury and springing up across the more inland areas of the North Island. But I think most of us, the active weather is as we go through in towards Friday and the weekend. Looking at how things shape up in terms of rainfall accumulations, well, no surprise with that onshore feed of air in towards Wairoa and up in towards Tairafti. That's where we're going to catch most of the rainfall on the North Island through the next few days. And that should start to ease off as we head through Thursday. There is a heavy rain watch across this northeastern corner, which runs through till the evening time on Thursday. We'll find that rain also pushing through in towards Wairarapa and around the corner in towards Wellington. And then these areas of blue you can see on the more inland or the western parts really showing up as those thunderstorms springing up through the daytime on Saturday and perhaps even through towards Sunday as well. So I think we are still looking at more unsettled weather, but for the western side of the North Island, it's as we go through towards the weekend. Down on the South Island, there we are going to find, again with that easterly feed of air, we'll start to find that rainfall creeping in towards Otago by the end of the day tomorrow, Canterbury through the morning time and the afternoon. Drier weather on the western coast for the daytime tomorrow, for Thursday and probably for Friday, but as these systems wrap around each other, we'll find that rain pushing back in towards there as well up for Saturday. Not a bad looking story for Fiordland, one of the driest spots of the country over the next few days. Now, in terms of what that means for our temperatures, we are going to find them up and down. We've seen some really cold temperatures. They're back to increasing, but what we will find is this pocket of cold air running up towards us as we go through Saturday or Friday and towards Saturday. That's mainly high above the ground, and that's going to be one thing that really helps to drive those showers and thunderstorms we'll see on Saturday. The cold air aloft helping those showers to really grow in size and could well be enough to bring some pretty intense bursts of rain. Well worth keeping an eye on the forecast for that Saturday across the North Island, particularly from Northern down through towards Taranaki and across towards East Cape or thereabouts. Those areas are really looking like the prime position to catch more showers and thunderstorms. As we head through towards the end of the year, I think we'll find ourselves back into more northwestern. So I think we are going to find our temperatures picking up, definitely compared to what we've been seeing over the last few days. In terms of the North Island, it's still looking pretty unsettled as we head through towards Friday. We'll find those showers and thunderstorms springing up. Thursday, looking pretty good across those western parts, but places like, say, the Waikato coast and down towards New Plymouth or thereabouts. But things become more unsettled through the weekend, some showers. And I think for Saturday, we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on the chance of some heavy, perhaps thundery ones across some of the region as well. Temperatures start to pick back up, 27 degrees Celsius for Napier there. The change in wind directions doing you a favour, and things for you at least drier towards the end of the week. Down on the South Island, well, again, it's a fairly unsettled looking story. We start to find that for Southland, we get back into those wetter weather. We've got some decent days coming up for, say, Thursday and Friday for you, but I think more rainfall back in there. And we are going to find our temperatures around about 18 degrees Celsius by the time we head through towards Sunday. So it is, I think, going to be still a fairly unsettled picture in the lead up towards Christmas. Taking a look at the broader scale and a bit further afield, you can see the greens and blues here showing low pressure. There's a brief bridge which builds through for Christmas Eve, and I think that's probably the pick of our days of the Christmas week. We see this next area of low pressure running closer towards us. The time is still all to play for. We might get away with a half decent day on Christmas Day across the North Island before things turn cloudier, particularly in the western regions there. The dry weather out towards the east, but you can see by the time we head through towards Boxing Day and Friday, the low pressure has moved across the country back in towards easterlies. So I think the Christmas week itself is looking unsettled. Drier and brighter for a time on Christmas Eve. But for Christmas Day, keep an eye out towards the west as the next system that moves in through there, particularly for the western coast of the South Island. More cloud across the western side of the country, but generally drier and brighter and warmer out in the east. But that's still a way away. Keep an eye on the forecast, and you can find all of those at metservice.com.